How's it going out there, YouTubers? Cyberneticshark here with another new movie review for you. So let's go right into this review and see what I saw. So the other day, I had the pleasure of checking out this new horror comedy film that was interesting, definitely good, and definitely out there in the bizarre world, but also it was directed by an awesome guy that was a part of a duo that has done some great and awesome types of films. Now, the movie I'm talking about happens to be the film called Mom and Dad. Now, if you're not familiar with Mom and Dad, like I said, it's a horror kind of comedy film. Has a great cast, not a huge cast, but a great cast that, does bring a great game to the film and makes a really interesting kind of horror comedy film. Now, this movie is none other than directed by the half duo of Nevadine and Taylor, and that is Mr. Brian Taylor. Now, Brian Taylor, you might recognize as the director of a few other films over the past couple years, but a couple films I really enjoyed that he was a co-director on were none other than the awesome film from 2006 starring Jason Statham, the movie Crank. Now, Crank, if you're not familiar with that film, it's basically Jason Statham through the whole film trying to keep his adrenaline up because he's been basically poisoned by a Chinese cocktail. And in order to keep himself alive, he has to keep his adrenaline up so that his heart keeps pumping, basically. It's a really awesome film. I love the direction they took that film in. I thought it had a lot of great action sequences. I thought it was just a really interesting and definitely a different type of film with a lot of great, just weird and fun things involved. And I thought Brian Taylor did a really good job of being a co-director on that film. He really brought a great new flavor, gave us a new type of action film, and also just made a really interesting and fun film. Now, the other film that he was a co-director on, and I thought that he did a good job with, is none other than an awesome Gerard Butler film that came out in 2008, I believe. Either 2008 or 2007. And that is the film Gamer. Now, Gamer is also another one that he did with Nevadine, and this is just another one that has that very same chemistry as the film Crank, Crank 2, and many of the other films that they've directed together. And this film just was really awesome. I thought that Gerard Butler was really awesome as this, real person playing kind of like a real-life RPG type of game where he's, the actual character in the game and having to, save himself and to try to get to the end so that he can get free from this craziness. It's just a really awesome and excellent type of idea. I thought it was really well-rounded of a film, and I thought Brian Taylor did a good job of co-directing and making a really interesting film. Now, when it comes to the awesome Mom and Dad, I thought this being his first solo venture of a directing duty, I thought he did a really awesome job and gave us a whole new type of horror comedy type of film. He really brought a lot of his flavor that he, put into the Crank movies and Gamer, but also he gave us a whole new kind of outlook on a different type of scenario instead of it being say, zombies or something like that that's trying to attack people, but a totally different type of idea that the signal basically causes people to do crazy things. And I thought that was really awesome, really neat, and I thought Brian did a really good job of directing that. He really made an interesting and awesome kind of film. I thought it was very classic. I liked how it was very kind of smooth sailing through the film. I liked how it was very simple, but then all of a sudden it was action sequences and craziness going on. I thought that was really cool, and I thought it was really awesome. I was really impressed with his directing of this film. I thought it was actually really good. I wasn't too sure about it, especially being kind of direct to DVD type of format. It really wasn't released worldwide, but at the same time, I thought that even its short release, it still was a really awesome type of film. Now, like I was saying earlier, this movie doesn't have a huge cast. It has really three primary characters that are kind of the big main characters, and they're kind of well known. A few of them are, one of them is an Oscar nominated, an Oscar winner. One of them is, kind of known. She's done quite a few things, and then the other one, she's done a few things as well. Now, to start off this awesome cast, we have none other than Mr. Oscar winner himself from the great movies like Face Off, Snake Eyes, National Treasures, and that, of course, is Mr. Nicolas Cage. Now, Nicolas Cage, like I said, you might recognize from a few of those movies I just recommended or talked about. You might also recognize him from a slew of other films he's done over the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years, like the film Next, or Knowing, or such films as the awesome Moonstruck film with Cher, and so forth. And of course, his Oscar-nominated film and Oscar-winning film, of course, Leaving Las Vegas. But a couple films I really enjoyed him in and think are some of his best action films are none other than an awesome film from 1995 starring Sean Connery and Ed Harris, The Rock, which is a really awesome action film. I absolutely love that film. I think it's fantastic and fun. I think they do such a great job with that film. I thought Michael Bay did an awesome job. There were so many great, bit actors throughout that film, and they all just worked so well together. And I just thought they made a really awesome action film. And I thought the whole idea of having to break into Alcatraz was a really cool idea, too. And, with the state that, Alcatraz is in and being in that tourist attraction these days, it was kind of interesting to see them, the underground of Alcatraz and all that kind of cool stuff. So I thought it was really cool, the idea that they did, and I thought Nicolas Cage was so awesome, and I loved him as that character. I thought he was, super cool and just awesome, and I just thought he brought a great, kind of comedic and action element to the film, and just did a really good job. Now, another great movie that he was in that I absolutely thought he was fantastic in, and I thought that this is probably my all-time favorite of his. And that, of course, is the awesome 1997 film, Con Air, which I think is just a fantastic film. You got John Malkovich, you had John Cusack in it, you had Danny Trejo in it, you had Rinaldi. I mean, you had all these awesome actors all in this one big film, and so beautifully directed by Simon West. And I thought that his accent in this whole movie, being kind of that southern accent, was absolutely freaking hilarious. But at the same time, I thought he pulled it off very well, especially because they kind of gave him kind of that honky-tonk country look. And so I think that's why this movie's so great and why his best is because I think he just played that so well to the T. And this movie is just super action-packed. I loved all the elements of the film. I thought it was just a really well-done action film, and I thought Nicolas Cage was just awesome in it. I loved all of his scenes. I loved all of his dialogue. I thought he worked really well with everyone that was involved. Steve Buscemi being in it, too, with him, and him kind of interacting with him. Just everyone involved was really awesome, and I thought Nick Cage was really amazing in this film. I think it's, like I said, his best movie of mine, I think. I think this is my favorite of his. I just think he's so awesome and just really, really funny, too, at the same time, and just really cool. But it comes to playing in Mom and Dad, I thought Nick Cage was super funny. I loved a lot of his kind of one-word dialogues in the film. I thought that his actions from, him being not basically kind of possessed to him being possessed was super hilarious. I loved how he just, flick of a dime, he was so different, and I just loved his character. I thought he was super funny. I loved his attitude of the movie and just how disgruntled he was. It was nice seeing a kind of a different side to him, kind of him being this obnoxious asshole type of character, and I thought he did a good job. I really liked it. I thought he was really decent, and he made a great film. I thought he was a great accompaniment to this film, and I think this wouldn't have been as good if he hadn't been, the lead actor in the film. He was really good. Definitely worth watching just for Nicolas Cage in this. Now, another awesome actress that's in this film that I think was a interesting choice, and at the same time was nice seeing her in kind of a different type of role. I'm not really used to her being in this type of role. And that, of course, is Miss, crazy, kinetic lady / just cool, cool collective kind of gal. And that, of course, is Miss Selma Blair. Now, Selma Blair you might recognize, of course, from a slew of films. But a couple films I really enjoyed her in and thought that she was fantastic in was none other than the awesome, amazing Ron Perlman film directed by Guillermo del Toro. And that, of course, is the film Hellboy. Now, Hellboy, her as that telekinetic character and that kind of love interest of Hellboy in the film, she was just super awesome. I loved her as that character. I thought she was fantastic. I think it's her best role to date. I loved how she was and how she really portrayed the character, made her a very interesting character, and just thought she was really awesome as that telekinetic, character person. And I thought her and Ron Perlman did a really good job of playing off each other throughout the films. And just did a really fun job. Now, another awesome film that I really enjoyed, and I think this is a fantastic comedy, just a really fun comedy. I think it's just super funny, has a great cast. I mean, you got the awesome Lachlan Monroe in it, you have Julia Stiles, you have James Brolin in it. You got the awesome Thomas Lennon in it. You have just an awesome and amazing cast. And that, of course, is the awesome film, none other than the awesome 2003 film, A Guy Thing, which I think is hilarious. I think this movie is so stinking funny and definitely a great rom-com type of film. I mean, you also had Sean Hannity in it. It was a fun, funny film. And I thought that Selma Blair was so great as this character, playing kind of like the other main love interest in the film besides Julia Stiles. And just her interaction with Jason Lee and, just having to deal with, like being this, like, gonna be wife, but not really in love completely with Jason Lee, actually. And I just thought she was really funny and very kind of, like, discerning at the same time, and I thought that was a great role by her. I just think it's a great movie, too, at the same time. It makes me laugh so hard every time I see it. And that scene where she finds the underwear in the toilet tank, and she like asks him about it, and he's talking about these underwear brands, was absolutely hilarious. Just her reactions and her look on her face was like super hilarious. Thought she did a fantastic job in that. But when it comes to Mom and Dad, I actually think she was super awesome in this film. I loved her attitude. I loved seeing her kind of like in that more mature adult role, being a mother figure, and that was like the first time I've seen her like kind of play this kind of role. And so I thought it was kind of like almost seeing like an animal you can never see in person. You go outside and all of a sudden you see a moose in, person, or a hippo or a rhino or something like that, something that you don't commonly see all the time. And you're kind of just in awe. And that's how her performance in the movie was for me, because I was so not used to her being that kind of like mother figure type of character. And so I thought she did a really good job, and I think Brian did a really good job of directing her and in giving her a whole new life, kind of given a new whole idea on what her acting abilities are. And I thought she did a fantastic job. Really awesome in it. I really enjoyed her. And I thought she worked with Nicolas Cage very well. And they played, a married couple very well. And when they, like, kind of become possessed in the film, and their, like, chemistry was super hilarious and funny. And it just was really awesome. She did a really good job. She's worth, checking it out for, too. Now, to round out this cast, and like I said this movie didn't have a huge cast, is none other than this gal herself that I really didn't know much about her. I've seen her in a couple things, but at the same time, it's like she's not really huge and well known, but still, she's bigger than any of the other characters that were in the film. And that, of course, is this gal herself, Miss Ann Winters. Now, not to be confused with Aria Winters, she's not related. But at the same time, Ann Winters plays the daughter of Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair in the film. And she actually did a pretty decent job, I thought. I thought she was interesting. I thought she was definitely different. And in her acting ability, I thought it was pretty decent. Now, a couple films or a couple things I've seen her in are none other, or I should say, one I've seen her in, and one that she's going to be in that I'll be seeing in the future when it comes out in September, is none other than the Netflix original series 13 Reasons Why. And she plays one of the main characters in the TV show. And her character in the film is, very dramatic, very, sad, and, very kind of like depressing type of feel. And when it came to her, that being different than what she was in Mom and Dad, it was kind of interesting seeing that she had such a great dramatic performance where she can also play kind of like scared horror, kind of gal / kind of like trying to be, the hero type of element. And I thought that was a very good range of acting, and I thought she did a good job in 13 Reasons Why, really showing a great dramatic element. Now, another movie that she's going to be in that comes out this September and stars Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, and it is called Night School. Now, I'm not too familiar with what the movie's pretty much about. It's basically about going to night school. Kevin Hart goes to night school to become better at and to get a better jobber, basically. But Ann Winters plays one of the main characters in the films and kind of like a sidekick / kind of person of interest in the film that they interact with in the film. And from the previews, what I've seen, she's got a pretty sizable role in it. But if it's anything like, kind of Mom and Dad, her acting ability, it's going to be really funny. It's going to be interesting to see her kind of in more of a comedic, film where she's more comedic than, action drama slash horror type of comedy element. So that'll be interesting to see. But this movie looks absolutely hilarious, super funny look. Looks absolutely hilarious and fun. Looks like it's going to be a great comedy. Great combination of Tiffany Haddish and Kevin Hart. Both of them are super hilarious comedians. And it's going to be a great pleasure to see. But it comes into when Mom and Dad, like I was saying earlier about Ann Winters, I thought she was really good. I really liked her character. I really enjoyed her kind of, dramatic slash kind of be the hero type of role. I thought she was really decent. And it was kind of interesting to see her kind of playing this older, sister of this really younger kid, especially when her, real age is not even close to 17. And, I mean, she still has that kind of, like, kiddish look. But at the same time, it's still funny seeing, this, much older gal playing this character that's supposed to be, like, 17, 18 in high school and stuff like that. But at the same time, I still thought she did a really decent job for, what she was working with. And I thought she was really well directed by Brian Taylor. And I thought that she was a really good, asset and completion to that awesome cast that was involved with making this awesome film. Even though it wasn't a super long film, I still think that it was very well contained and, it got from one point to, A to B very well and very sophisticately and, just really well done. It was a really fun movie. Now, if you're not familiar with what Mom and Dad's about, basically what the film is about is how basically all the parents all of a sudden go crazy and want to kill their children. Is basically what the premise of the movie is, and the kids have to try to figure out a way to get away from the parents and not be killed by their parents. And supposedly it's like some kind of signal that's being sent out that's causing the parents to all act like this. And that's pretty much what the base of the movie is, because the movie kind of starts out, everyone's normal, then all of a sudden this signal comes across the TVs, and then all the parents go crazy. So I thought that was a really cool concept that you really haven't seen, where the parents go crazy. You've seen movies where parents have, been like psycho killers and stuff like that, like serial killers and stuff like that. But they really have never like done like a film where like a signal causes these, parents to go crazy against their children, not like, just go crazy against people or anything like that. It was really interesting, and I thought they did a really good job with it. I thought it was a really cool concept, and it was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very interesting, like I said, and I just thought it was really well crafted and very well done for a very first like kind of solo directing bid for Brian Taylor, and I thought he did a good job. Really interesting film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's worth the watch. Giant 10 golden movie boxes up on this one. Definitely adding that to my collection because it's a really awesome film, really fun and very interesting. Now that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Also, thank you for subscribing. And it's your first time here if you've been here before and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet. What are you waiting for? A grand invitation? Hit that subscribe button so don't miss one of these awesome videos or any of the awesome videos I put up. As always, keep your eyes out for any old or newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, check out that awesome link down below about the awesome horror pack. Now, if you're a big horror fan, what better way to get horror films on the regular every month than an awesome box that comes with either 5 random, either Blu-rays or DVD format, depending on what format you like, and where you get an awesome limited edition, which comes as your 5th, product that you can't get anywhere else. So especially if you're a big fan of like collecting collectibles and stuff like that, out of print, stuff like that, what better way to get it, including your price, and not be, having to pay out the, wazoo to get something so cool. So if that's something that interests you, hit that link down below and it'll take you to the website, and also you can get a discount on your first month. That's right, discount, people. And as always, check out the awesome new Stardust app, people, which is an awesome little app that you can either download from the Google Play Store or the Apple Play Store, of course, where you can watch 3 to 30-second little mini reviews of movies, trailers, TV shows, TV episodes, and so forth. So definitely check this out. It's a really cool app, people, and if you end up downloading it, go ahead and look me up under Cyberneticshark and follow me, and I'll follow you back. And as always, catch you in the next one.